If you've ever looked at your plate and wondered, am I getting enough protein? Am I getting enough fiber? And just felt so overwhelmed and confused about even where to start with figuring out how much protein or fiber you need to get in, this episode is for you. Today, we're breaking down exactly how to get enough protein and fiber for your body to work optimally and for you to feel your best. So let's jump into it. So let's start with why this combination is so important. While protein is essential for hormone production, for muscle maintenance, this is especially important in our 30s and beyond when it's harder to get the same signaling to build muscle, which is essential for metabolism and longevity. It's important for our immune health, detoxification, and just feeling satisfied and energized throughout our day. Fiber is critical for gut health. As most of us know, having regular bowel movements. It's also important for feeding our gut microbiome, those good little critters in our digestive tract that keep us healthy. It's important for estrogen detoxification, as well as blood sugar balance, rather than being on a wild roller coaster, keeping things steady and toddler rated is the goal there. And keeping your digestion just happy and moving, feeling really good. The magic happens when you get both consistently throughout the day. For most women, I typically recommend getting at least 60 to 80% of your body weight in pounds in grams of protein a day. I'm going to say that again. 60 to 80% of your body weight in pounds in grams of protein each day. So what does that actually look like? So for a woman who is 140 pounds, that would be about 84 to 112 grams of protein each day, divided between meals and snacks. I recommend getting at least 25 to 30 grams during breakfast or in the morning to really pick up your day, to fuel you, to keep you from running on adrenaline. So it's a really important start. For fiber, I recommend getting at least 25 to 35 grams of fiber each day. Now, to give you a reference point, the typical Western diet in North America usually provides maybe like 10, maybe 15 grams of protein, or I'm sorry, of fiber a day. So we want to really pick it up from the standard diet. It's really getting a lot more veggies and different things in our diet beyond that. Now, of course, if you are working with a provider or nutritionist and you have specific targets that you are trying to meet because they've recommended that, then by all means, stick to that. This is just a really good general guideline for most women. Now, before we talk about what to do, let's talk about maybe what not to do. Here are some of the most common struggles that I see women making. First, under eating. Now, this especially goes with get enough protein in the morning. And a lot of us skip breakfast, maybe aren't feeling super hungry in the morning. That could actually be a signal that something is off with our digestion or our energy production. But basically, not getting enough protein in the morning or at breakfast is one really critical area. Breakfast can just be a tough place to get a lot of protein too. Forgetting to include fiber-rich veggies with meals. Again, especially breakfast. We usually don't think about getting any veggies with breakfast. We think of like eggs and toast, but really that is a spot where you could get a lot of fiber as well as with snacks. Relying on snacks in general, especially that are high in carbs. Usually snacks are more sugary, carby, crunchy because they're easy. They don't go bad easily, so they're easy to take on the go. But unfortunately, a lot of them don't have as much protein and fiber in them. And lastly, just getting overwhelmed thinking it's complicated. It can be complicated for sure, but it doesn't have to be. It can really be simple once you understand and get some core things in your diet that you like that you can really use as a template. That's what I recommend when I talk with my patients is it's not just reinventing the wheel every single day. It's finding the things that work for you, knowing about how much protein and fiber they contain, and then really setting up a template for yourself that you can work from. Now let's walk through a sample day of protein and fiber intake so you can just see how this can look in your day. I think this is the simplest way of breaking it down. It just makes it feel super doable and actionable. So for breakfast, again, breakfast can be a hard one because we're usually not sitting down to a serving size of meat and some veggies like other meals. For whatever reason, in North America, we have a hard time with thinking about a meal like that or breakfast like that. You absolutely can have a steak and veggies for breakfast. So that's an easy one. It could be leftovers or something like that. Or if you are wanting to do breakfast foods, then we'll talk about that. So for one, I usually am recommending getting a few different protein sources. It makes it the easiest for most of us. Things like breakfast sausage can be a great, easy go-to thing that's in your freezer or fridge that's easy to heat up and go. A lot of them have right there on the packaging how much protein is in it. So that can be a great one. You can mix this with some eggs, either in a scramble or just some fried eggs with that. And you can do a combination of maybe eggs with some egg whites, like 2 eggs with a quarter cup of egg whites to get even more protein. You don't have to avoid whole eggs. This is not a conversation about cholesterol today, but whole eggs are totally fine. But if, especially for the quantity that you need to eat, if you want to add some egg whites in there, then that can be a great option. And then adding some veggies in there. Again, if you're doing a scramble, throw in some sauteed spinach in there, add some avocado. Avocado we think of as a fat, but it actually has fiber in it as well. So those are great additions on there. You can also add some collagen peptides to your coffee or tea in the morning, which can be a great way to bump up your protein as well, along with the meal. Now, with veggies, again, if you're having something more simple, even a hard-boiled egg or two with some breakfast sausage or with the collagen peptides in your beverage, you could also add in some veggies on the side. You could snack on some baby carrots or have a little side salad along with it. Sometimes I'll just do arugula with a really simple vinaigrette that I've had pre-made in the fridge right on the side there, or maybe some sauerkraut or something like that, even pickles. Like, it can be easy, but just adding in some veggie there, some nuts, some seeds can be a great way to get some extra fiber. If you're going a different direction with breakfast, maybe doing something like a Greek yogurt, that's a great source of protein. You can add it with add some chia seeds, berries on there for extra fiber. Maybe a low sugar granola can be a great option as well. So that gives you some ideas. I'm not giving you specifics because it really depends on exactly which food you're choosing. So be sure to look at the labels. Again, maybe just sit down, find a template that works for you, look at the foods that you like, and just do a quick, really brief calculation and just see, okay, yeah, I'm hitting about 25 to 30 grams in this meal. Awesome. Again, initially it might feel like a lot of food that you're eating, but trust me, stick with it, maybe ease into it if you need to, but you're going to feel better with eating more in the morning rather than less. Now, if you're working out in the morning, then you can fudge this a little bit and maybe have some of it in the morning before you work out. I definitely recommend being fueled before working out. But it could be lighter, it could be something really small, and then having the rest of it after your workout. And yeah, doing something there. A smoothie can be a great option here too. Be sure to chew your smoothie so your digestion is really working with it. But this is another way you can throw in tons of fiber with chia seeds, greens, get the protein powder in there. Don't recommend people just rely on protein powder to get their protein, but this can be a great quick option if you're on the go in the morning, if you're not super hungry for something that feels like a big meal in the morning. So I hope that helps give you a good template for breakfast. For lunch, again, it gets a little bit easier for lunch and dinner. A salad here can be a great way to get tons of fiber, trying to throw in as many veggies as possible. If you might have seen on social media, sometimes I'll post where I made a salad that's like a rainbow where I'm getting all these different antioxidants, different forms of fiber, and it can be so simple. Again, baby carrots, slice up some cucumbers, throw some pre-packaged little baby greens on there, a good quality salad dressing. It can be so simple. And then add some protein on there with maybe canned salmon or some pre-made chicken that could be leftovers, maybe batch make it on the weekends, or there are some options where they're like packaged pre-made chicken breast. So something like that, throw it on a salad. You could do something like a sandwich here. You want to be mindful about a sandwich tends to be much lower in fiber, depending on the bread you're using and how many veggies you're adding on there. A wrap can be pretty good here because you can throw a little more extra veggies in there, like a veggie and hummus wrap. with turkey could be a great option. And here is where you can also think about the little add-ons that you can put onto a meal. Maybe adding some pumpkin seeds onto a salad, or chia seeds can also go on there, flax. There are these little things that are pretty easy to throw onto a meal to add some extra fiber. Also, using something like quinoa instead of rice or lentils can be a great way to bump up the fiber intake and get a little bit more protein beyond something more simple like rice. For snacks, I mentioned Greek yogurt with breakfast. That can be a great snack. A protein shake can be great and easy here. Again, adding ground flax, chia seeds, even psyllium husk for extra fiber on top of your food can be great. It could be, again, some cut up veggies. Hummus is a great source of fiber, as well as some protein, or doing something like sliced turkey. Again, let's make it easy, simple, and you can definitely hit these goals that way. And then for dinner, usually leaning in towards having some sort of protein. Usually meat is the easiest and most easily digested form of protein here. For the most part, getting 4 to 6 ounces in a serving size of steak, chicken, turkey, salmon, tofu, tempeh are great options. Maybe doing some roasted veggies, side salad, and then you can definitely get some starches in here too, like some pasta or rice or quinoa or something like that. But again, trying to be mindful when it comes to the starches, being mindful about having the more fiber rich options, which usually look more like whole foods. So a whole sweet potato, for example, or quinoa is like a whole grain, or doing something like a whole grain pasta, trying to bump it up a little bit there. So you're not just filling up on some of the more like empty things, the things that don't have a lot of protein and fiber. So you're not going to be getting as much bang for your buck, so to speak, with what you're filling up on. And then evening snack or quote unquote dessert can be a good way to get a little bit more protein as well. Protein pudding. I'll be sharing my recipe for a chia pudding that's high in protein on Instagram, so you can check that out. Cottage cheese with berries, even just doing a bowl of fruit with a little bit of nut butter on there, something like that can be great for getting a good amount of fiber and some protein in addition to what you've eaten throughout the day. A lot of us have a sweet tooth in the evening anyway, and so it can be really good to curb that, really keep you satisfied throughout the evening, overnight, keep your blood sugar steady. And especially if we're choosing something that has protein and fiber in it, it can actually help with sleep, especially if you're having middle of the night wakings, having a hard time falling asleep, staying asleep. So I hope that feels approachable, gives you a good, again, template to stick to try to get those. Again, for each meal, depending on your weight and what your exact goal is, usually we're aiming for about 25 to 30 grams per meal, maybe adding a little bit more in with snacks. It can feel like a lot at first, but once you get the hang of it, it can feel really simple, really easy to hit those goals most days. And again, once you start feeling the benefits of it, you will be sold. It will be so much easier because you're like, wow, I can actually stay awake at work throughout the day, or I can actually focus in the afternoon meetings, or I can keep up with my kids. You're going to feel the difference when you're getting enough protein and fiber. Okay, so some tips to actually hit your targets. I recommend tracking your food for at least 3 days. I don't recommend long-term tracking because it can make us a little bit crazy and obsessive, but checking in for a few days can be a great way to see where you're running and also learning what the content of your foods are. So really seeing, is this a good option for me or not? Am I getting enough protein? Could I alter it a little bit to get even more protein and fiber? It really is such a great learning experience. Now, and I get it. If you're busy, this can feel like, oh my gosh, one more task to do. But really, maybe choosing days when you're not as busy or just going for it, just being prepared and trying it for a few days, it's a really short-lived thing and it can be so enlightening to understand what you're actually getting in. I've had so many patients with huge aha moments that come from this, and this even alone can really help them reset and find a better target for themselves. Again, build each meal first on its own to see, okay, what can I do to change it to up these amounts first? And it can be great to start with protein. Maybe start with protein first because the fibers can be added in. Again, veggies and things like that can be added in. Usually the biggest keystone around our meal is going to be the protein. So maybe start there and then build in the fiber. Another great tip is what I was mentioning earlier. Keep high fiber add-ins ready to go. Keep them at your home. Things like flax, fresh ground flax, chia seeds. You could have some psyllium husk on board, veggies and fruits that are high fiber that are easy for you to grab. So berries are a great option here. They're lower glycemic, great source of fiber. Leafy greens. I personally love the baby greens, even though they go bad a lot faster, sadly. Those can be so easy to throw onto a meal, to make a quick little side salad, or cut up veggies are a great one as well. Plan your snacks strategically, not reactively. So what does this mean? So this means when you're at the grocery store, when you're buying your snacks, buy things that are going to be easy for you to grab, that have a good amount of fiber and protein, rather than just having, oh, just the favorite snacks and you're hungry and you're just going to grab whatever's there. For me, if I do that and am reactive, I will grab something like chips or crackers because it's easy to just grab out of the cupboard and start munching on them. And I'll fill up on those and I'll be like, dang, I just really, maybe they're higher fiber options than some other things. It's not like horrible, but it really is, oh man, I'm not going to feel my best if I'm eating that way. So having something ready to go, again, to give a personal example, if I pre-make some chia pudding and have it ready to go in my fridge, I can easily grab it. It's so yummy, so satisfying. I also try to keep certain protein bars at the house. I don't love protein bars because most of them are so high in sugar, low in protein. They have a lot of weird ingredients in them, but these can be great, especially if you have a sweet tooth, if you're super hungry and you need something on the go, they can be great. And there are some great options out there that have a good amount of fiber and protein. A lot of the ones with a whey protein source or something that's a little bit more of a whole nut blend, those tend to be better and not as sugar filled. And if you need to supplement with a protein powder, I do think this can be a great way to get some additional protein. Again, don't rely on a protein powder solely for your protein intake, but this can be great to add in. My favorites are collagen peptides, especially if you're trying to put it in something that you don't want extra flavor in it. So coffee, tea, you can even add it to like soups and things like that. You can make gelatin as a snack. That's a great source of protein. Whey protein is another great source of protein that is going to be really easily digested, really easily absorbed, and you get a good amount of protein for the amount of calories and the overall amount that you have to take in. If you want plant-based blends, there's some great ones. Truvani, Mikuna are some great ones that are cleaner options and have a good source of protein. And those ones are a little bit higher in fiber, which is also great. So here's the bottom line. Getting enough protein and fiber isn't just checking a box, it's about supporting your overall well-being, your hormones, your metabolism, your gut health, and your energy. Once you get it dialed in, it can feel simple and seamless, and you will feel so much better for it. I promise. I can say with experience that this is true. If you want help creating a personalized nutrition strategy that works for your hormones, your lifestyle, feel free to reach out. We can look at what you're taking in, what your needs actually are. We can actually do some testing there if we're not sure if you're getting enough or not. And we can make this a very easy strategic plan and take out some of the work for you if you just can't wrap your head around this. So feel free to reach out. I'll put the link in the show notes for setting up a clarity call, which is a free call where we talk about your goals, what's going to be the next step to move you closer to your goals, and what it looks like to work together. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please remember to subscribe, to like this, to leave a positive review. That helps us reach more people like you who could really benefit from this information. And if you want more resources, check out my Instagram page. I mentioned that I have posted with different meals. I'll be posting my protein chia pudding recipe. So you can check that out. And I'll be talking more about how to get protein and fiber as we launch this episode. So be sure to check it out there.